Bonsoir tout le monde. Il est 7 heures et j'aimerais
Good evening, everyone. It's 7 o'clock. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Before we adopt the agenda, does anybody wish to add anything to the agenda? Just one addition. It's not the norm to add any items, but under new business 12.11, I would like to have a motion to approve financing for the sewer system in Meteghan. I will bring the context when we get there. All those in favor? Thank you, Mr. Warden. At 11.2, the waste check meeting, there was not one, so there was no meeting, so we could remove 11.2 from the agenda. Thank you. If you all agree, we will remove 11.2 and add 12.11. If everybody agrees, I'll need a motion to adopt the agenda. Moved by Councillor Hill, seconded by Councillor Comeau. All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. Do we have any declaration of conflict of interest? No. If not, we will go on to item 4. There are no presentations tonight. Under 5, the adoption of the minutes. June 15th, 2022, the regular council meeting. Any errors or omissions? If not, does anybody wish to move? Moved by Councillor DeVoe, seconded by Councillor Hill. All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. And 5.2, July 6, 2022, Council and Committee meeting. Are there any errors or omissions on these minutes? If not, does anybody wish to move? Moved by Councillor Comeau, seconded by Councillor Comeau. All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. Under 6, business arising from previous council meetings. 6.1, municipal boundary review with C&D Community Design. Thank you. After the presentation from C&D Communication Design regarding the boundary review, the scenario that was discussed with the council, unfortunately, the revisions did not work with the parity in different regions, the more or less 10%. So you received a package here to explain their efforts up to date with this scenario and what they propose as a second scenario for your consideration, which is similar to what we had proposed with the meeting with C&D. You have in your package the proposed revisions. They are placing New Edinburgh as part of the district with Ohio and Weaver settlement as it was before. They are taking a bit of Groskok in District 3 to arrive with parity, more or less of 10%. There are revisions for District 6 and 8. These revisions proposed are minor, but it places all the districts within the 10%. So C&D Community Design is looking for your feedback. If you agree with this, we are still at the beginning of the process, but if you agree to go forward with this and present this as a recommendation to the public as part of the public consultations that will be held this summer and in September. They do not want to proceed without the approval of council, and we have a deadline that we need to respect, especially if we want to present the UARB at the end of the year. So this evening, tonight, I do not need a formal motion from the council. I just need an indication if you are in agreement or not with what is presented. That is not necessarily the final presentation to UARB, but this is what we would like to present to the public for discussion. Any questions or comments? Councillor DeVoe? Thank you. I think that if the councillors that it involves, I am happy with, and if the council itself is happy with this. Any questions or comments?
Way they did it, because they're gonna, down to 340, District 2 runs to Richfield, but Moody's Corner is gonna be cut out of that and pushed into another one, so you're gonna jump over Moody's Corner and go back to Richfield in District 2? I just thought that looked kind of odd. Being in District 2, wouldn't that create problems with the polling stations? Because that's quite a huge district, you know, you're going from there to Southville to Ohio. That was my only concerns with it, but I know they're trying, and it's not easy to do it, to make it work. But if this is the best they got, I mean, I'd accept it.
It makes sense because the 340 was cut out of it.
I mean, je sais pas, y a-tu...
I don't know. Are there any considerations that were given to have the same principle in Groskak to divide the village in two and to use that? Their approach was as much as possible. The approach with Stantec, the last time we did this was dividing villages. It worked in terms of parity, but it brought conflicts. I don't know if what they did in Groskak, they went to find 21 residences and it brought them inside the 10%. But in Moody's Corner, if Moody's Corner is the only concern, we are talking of about 8 residents or 8 votes. They might be able to modify this to include it in District 2. I don't know what the impact would be. 8 votes is not a lot, but will it surpass the 10%? I'm not sure. So that's it for the polling stations. Are they described? Is it something we could have more than one per district? It's something we could look at to include more to make it easier. The polling stations, we can have more than one, but the challenge we had before was we were limited by the internet, high-speed internet. But now we have a better system in place. We will have more options, but the problem is valid because there is a big territory to cover. I didn't have any discussion with Ben on the polling stations, but it's something we could take into consideration. We are not limited from a certain number of parity. Any more questions?
My recommendation would be to leave Moody's Corner in District 2. It's only 8 voting members, and just because it keeps the 340 from Richfield all the way to the tracks in Ohio. That's the only reason. But another option that I felt they could have went the other way with, instead of going to Springdale and Cedar Lake, District 2 goes to the tracks in Ohio. If they had extended that to the corner in St. Bernard and the Petit Paradis Road, there's 37 houses in that area. If they could have took those and pushed them in District 2, I think it would have been a better option than going Cedar Lake and Springdale in District 2. Now, it would break the community of St. Bernard up a little bit, but it's a very clear line, you know, it's to the... this for months, but
Would council agree if I just propose, though, ask them to look at those two scenarios and whichever ones they recommend in terms of making most sense for voter parity, that we go for that? Because I know they have all the ads prepared, they have the survey ready to go, they have all the collateral material ready for the public consultations, at least the virtual consultations, and then there'll be a larger public consultation come September. But they're hoping to launch that as soon as possible. They were hoping to have the actual public consultation in August, but we felt having that in the summer months when people vacationing and so on wouldn't be the best idea. So we asked them to push it to September, which they said they could. But in terms of their schedule, they feel it's getting a bit tight for time. So they just want to make sure that we don't exceed the timeline that's required by from the UARB. So, but no, I can mention those two scenarios to them, ask them to take a quick look. It doesn't take them long to run the numbers. And then if whichever one makes the most sense, we can go with that, recognizing that it might ultimately not be the final one in any case. Yeah, okay.
they'll combined will be 82 votes. And Petite Paradis and the extension of the St. Bernard to the stop sign, there's 36 houses, so there's 2 houses a vote, that's 72. And if you threw Moody's Corner back in, that's 80. So you're taking out 82 and putting in 80.
Oh, okay, so
It's pretty close.
So just so I understand correctly, we're leaving Moody's, we'd be proposing to leave Moody's Corner in District 2, add the Little Paradis Road to District 2, and then remove Springvale, and Cedar Lake, and put those back in District 6? Back in 6 or 8. Because we'll have to check what the impacts are on those districts as well.
You'd also have to include the portion of St. Bernard from the tracks in Ohio to the stop sign at the Petite Paradis Road. Okay.
Sounds simple. We'll see what it looks like on paper.
Is everybody in agreement with this? It's more or less District 8 and District 6 who would be affected by this. Deputy Warden Pache, do you have a comment? No? We need to look at what it looks like on paper, but when we have results, we will share it with the group and go from there. Are there any other questions? If not, so we will go on to item 7, the Warden's Activity Report. It's been a couple of months of activities. We are going back to May. So I need to think about my memory. On May 24th, I attended a regular meeting of the governors of the Villa Acadienne, and May 25th, I attended a meeting with the regional director of the CSAP with the Clare Health Board to discuss the food security and meals for our children at the school. On May 31st, I attended a meeting of the CA of the Economic Development of Nova Scotia. On May 26th, I attended the annual conference of AGM in Regina. I attended to the meeting on the 24th in Meteghan. They opened their office of the Echo Park, and they have a meeting in Tusket. They have workers there most of the time. It's starting to go forward. On June the 9th, I attended to a meeting of the St. Mary's Church in Church Point. We are revising. We were asked by a department to look at the different costs of what it would cost to put the building weather tight instead of completing it. So we are going forward with that to see what will happen. On June 23rd, I attended a meeting of the Board of Directors of the Economic Development of Nova Scotia. There, Alistair Surratt was named president for another term, but he has been president for a while. And I was named as vice president to replace Alfred Poirier from Chetika. He retired, so he's no longer there. On June 25th, I attended to the official opening of the new meeting of the new offices of the Literacy Council, Alphabétisation in Saulnieville. They opened the offices where the gym is in Saulnieville. They have an office there. They have classes that they will start offering to the people in the area. So it's a nice service to the people of the area. On June 28th, I attended to the regular meeting of the governors of the Villa Acadienne. And June 29th, I attended to the graduation at Université Sainte-Anne. I took a minute to congratulate them all, and a few there had some good prizes. They did well, and they were happy with their year of study. On June 30th, I attended a meeting from the Veterans Association where I explained the different municipal projects that we have on our plate at the time, and where we are up to that, and where we are at certain projects, just to make them aware of what's going on in the community. And June the 1st, I attended to the Richelieu, July 1st, to the, we are at the next month here. On July 1st, a few councillors were there with me at the Richelieu for Canada Day. Everybody had fun. And July 18th, I attended to a meeting at the Clare Health Center with the Health Minister, Honorable Michelle Thompson, as well as the Minister of Labor and Skills and Immigration, Honorable Jill Balser, who took a tour of our center to see how our efforts for doctor recruitment could help Digby and the Gills region, and to look at our plans for the expansion and where we're at with that. So it was a good meeting. A lot of information was shared. And that's it for my report. Do you have any questions or comments? If not, we will go on to item 8, official statements from the members of council. Deputy Warden Potier. I would like to congratulate Marie-Colombe and Ulysse Robichaud. On June the 30th, they celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary. And if the council agrees, we should send them a certificate to congratulate them. If you all agree, we will send a certificate. Anybody else with an official statement? If not, I have one here for a couple from Cape St. Mary, Louise and Herbert Doucette. On July 22nd, they will celebrate their 50th anniversary. If you agree, I would like to send them a certificate. Thank you very much. Okay, we will go on to item 9.1, Debbie Haight, Secretary, the Digby and Area Health Service Charitable Foundation.
Thank you for your generous support of the 7th Annual Richard Ellis Memorial Golf Tournament. Generous supporters such as you are valuable partners with the Foundation in maintaining present and future health services within the Digby area. This year's tournament successfully raised $17,000, and proceeds from this year's tournament will be directed at the purchase of a new patient lift and a new low-rise procurity bed for the Digby General Hospital. Please find enclosed your receipt. We will look forward to your support at next year's event. Sincerely, on behalf of the Golf Committee and the Foundation, kind regards, Debbie Haight, Secretary.
Any questions or comments on this? It's nice to see that they received the funds for this year. The people are giving donations after a few years for the golf tournament. It's good to see. 9.2, Hélène Deveau, President of the 100th anniversary of St. Alphonse Church. Stéphane Cyr, you are cordially invited to a special Mass on July 31st, 2022 at 9:30 with our Bishop Monsignor Brian Dum and other priests of the area to celebrate officially the centenary of Église Saint Alphonse. After the Mass, there will be a meal or a meal at the church to allow the people to socialize and to remember this history of Église. And then photo exposition and our religious articles will remind us of the times in the past. And this is in recognition of the contribution of $500 that we gave this year. Any questions or comments? If not, we will try to be there. 9.3, Linda Gregory, Warden, Municipality of Digby. Any questions or comments? It looks like Danielle is doing a good job to help them, and it's nice to see. Item 10, the Chief Administrative Officer's report. Thank you. My report will not be too long this evening because most of the projects we are waiting for financial assistance, but for the Veterans Center, it is still the case. I called the office of Chris D'Altremont to see if he could look at our dossier on the request for funds, where it is at for the Clare Health Center. The documents to the tender call for mechanical and electrical are ready. We are revising the documents for the architecture and the structure. We think we will be able to launch the tender call on July 29th. As the warden mentioned, we had a meeting with the Minister of Health of the province and Honorable Jill Balser, and I would say also it was a good meeting with good discussions to start the process. The public spaces project for the Joseph and Marie Dugas Park, there are no changes there. We are still looking at the funds from the federal and the province. We started the process for the permits with Department of Natural Resources, just to prepare for an eventual construction for the lighthouse in Cape St. Mary. Since the meeting of June the 6th, we are looking at the estimates for the platform and all the work for the paving, landscaping, and all that. We are looking at $372,000 project plus HST for the work to the inside of the lighthouse as an interpretive center. We are looking at another $158,000 plus HST. So for other works on the lighthouse to bring the people upstairs and to go around, there is some work to be done there. The new railing to go up and the new door. and others, we are looking at $57,000 plus HST. So the total amount we would be looking at to complete the project at the lighthouse would be $587,000 plus HST. For the wayfinding signage, not much new there. We are still discussing with the consultants. It will be Denis Saunier Design regarding the concept that they proposed. I am looking at some variations on the content of the signage, and as well as the size of the signs. We hope to have the detailed budget from them on September 1st. So in a month and a half, we will be able to present it to the council. For the public space project, the phase that we are there now is really the planning and the conception of the detailed design plans. So it's essentially completed. There are a few things to complete and submit to ACOA, but the work itself, I think we are at 90% complete. So we are slowly, with the support of the council, we are starting to prepare the grounds for the constructions. The three next dossiers, our housing plan, our sewer system on Sunset Road and the sidewalk, the repairs for the extension in Metegan. Unfortunately, these big projects, we still have not received any news from the funding agency, so we are waiting. For the multi-use grounds at Havelock, we are working with the resources, and the tender has been open. The work in Havelock have started, and we think we will have everything completed in mid or end of August. So this is a project of about over $80,000 plus HST. For the transfer station, Garian Construction Limited will start their site work and the installation of the new building the first week in August. The trusses have been ordered, and we expect to have them. There will be a delay, but we expect to have them by the end of September. When they arrive, we will start the construction of the building. Garian, it will be there on site. They will also take care of the necessary repairs to the transfer station itself. It is difficult to find a company to do that work. Garian says that they will have staff on site, so it will be done parallel with the construction of the building. The track and field, our project manager confirmed that the Playtech, they are happy with the asphalt that was put by Dexter last month. There are a few places along the track that are a bit higher than what we wanted, so it will essentially, the cement will be grinded to lower it. So these are small jobs that need to be done to the paving. We will need about 5 or 6 days to do that. They started the work today, so essentially they are grinding the asphalt, which is too high. And then when it is grounded, they will grind the cement to seal it. So that will allow them to finish the necessary work for the site. So then the Playtech will start afterwards with the rubber surface and to paint the line. So that will take about 14 days. Depending on the weather. So if everything goes well, if the weather permits, the project should be finished by August the 15th. So it will be before the return of the students at the university. The Travel Media Association, the conference, I spoke with Larry this week. He said it was a big success. He participated, he was involved with the tours in Clare, and it went really well. They also had the opportunity of having 12 meetings with tourism writers, and he expects that about 10 of them will present something interesting. There are interesting possibilities from those meetings, and he is very encouraged by it. He produced a long list of things that have already come out, different articles already published, and social media posts. So the conference, the municipality was presented on Twitter, on Facebook. There were articles in French published by different writers. There were blogs, and the same writers plan to come back for the World Acadian Congress and the Acadian Festival and others. So Larry said that it was a big success not only for Clare but for the whole region of the Acadian Shores and Yarmouth. The Culinary Enhancement Program for Clare Argyle is a program, mentorship programs that we have for the restaurants and the artists in the area. They will give sessions with the Kilted Chef and also help with their marketing, how they do the promotion, etc. So to date, we know that the mentoring sessions with the Kilted Chef are planned for August 7th to the 10th in Clare, and Larry and René Blind from the Economic Development will be in Clare. We hope to have 6 to 10 in Clare. There are 5 confirmed already, so it is a good start, and Larry and René will continue to recruit, and Larry says that he is not worried about getting the help he wants. A project I have not mentioned since last year because we are still waiting. The Fast Easy Charger, I don't know if you remember, it's a project that was brought forward by REN. We were part of that for the municipality of Clare. It was essentially to look at the purchase of 3 chargers for the community. We have one at the park in Belleville Cove, one at the Veterans Center, and one at the Lighthouse in the Cape. So the first request for funds went to Natural Resources Canada, was refused, and we were encouraged to reapply. Unfortunately, I learned last week that the second request for funds was also refused. So at this point, I'm not convinced that we will reapply, but it's my intention to talk to this with the staff on economic development to look at different potentials and to see if we can do something smaller at the regional level instead of having REN as the organization to request. We could have the municipality. On the financial aspect, on June the 30th, 2022, 8,691,000 in revenue versus 2,859,853 in expenses, for a surplus of 5,831,216. Again, on June the 30th, municipality has a balance of 3,600,000 in its operation and 293,000 in its capital account, and a total in reserve of $5,948,000. The last amount was broken down as follows: the operation 400 million, the other reserve for capital $2,918,000. The landfill closures reserve, $354,196, and the gas tax reserve, $784,000. So financially, the municipality is still in good financial health. That is my report. Thank you for that, Mr. Sear. Do you have any questions or comments for this report? Well detailed, thank you. If not, we will go on to item 11, the committee reports. just one report, the building permits, Councillor Hill.
Reports for June 2021. Up to the end of June, there was 145 permits issued for a value of construction of $36,726,000. And June of 2022, there was 142 permits issued for a value of construction of $8,800,000.
Thank you for that. Any questions or comments? If not, we will go on to 12 on new business. 12.1, motion to approve funding contribution for the Cape St. Mary Lighthouse. At the meeting of July 6th, the Director of Community Development had made a presentation for the project to the council regarding the Cape St. Mary Lighthouse Park, and we decided at the time to approve a financing of 25% for the cost of this project. We did not have all the estimates at the time. We had a general idea, but we did not have the details. So now that we have the cost, my recommendation to allow us to go forward for the other funders is to modify the motion that was made 2 weeks ago to look at the 25% of contribution and to add and to specify in terms of dollars. So essentially, we are looking at a motion to approve 25% of the project would be the equivalent of $587,000, which means a municipal contribution of $146,853 plus HST. The funding mix that we will propose to the other funders for Bellevos Cove is also 25%, 25%, and 50%. So that is what we hope to go forward with. Any questions or comments on this? If not, does anybody wish to make the motion?
I move that the council for the municipality of the District of Clare contribute 25% of the funds required for the proposed redevelopment of the Cape St. Mary's Lighthouse Park as part of the Tourism Public Spaces Project, conditional upon confirmation of balance of funding, and that these funds be taken from the municipality's capital reserve.
Moved by Councillor Hill, seconded by Councillor DeVoe. Ready for the vote? All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. 12.2, motion to approve funding to the Starlight Development Society. The Starlight Development Society is a society that focuses on stargazing. The interest on stargazing is something that is getting popular, especially for people from outside. And here in southwestern Nova Scotia, we are lucky to have skies at night that are very clear. So for the people who do stargazing, it is appropriate for them. It is part of our tourism. The society wants to promote this in southwestern Nova Scotia. So they, to do the work, they have an operating budget that they must respect. In the last few years, to register as a society, there is a cost, and that was absorbed by other municipalities for 2 years at a cost of $5,000 from Argyle. This year, it is time again to register again. So since the municipality, we benefit from the services that are offered and their efforts to promote the area. We were approached by the society to see if the municipality would be willing to make a contribution of $5,000 take care of the registration, and the council decided to make a motion to recommend the contribution. So this evening, we're looking for a motion to approve this officially. Questions or comments on the motion? If not, does anybody wish to make the motion? Councillor DeVoe? I move that the council for the municipality of the district of Clare make a financial contribution in the amount of $5,000 to the Starlet Development Society. Moved by Councillor DeVoe, seconded by Councillor Comeau. All those in favor? Contrary? Motion is carried. 12.3, motion to name a community representative for the Yarmouth Hospital Foundation. We sent out advertising to invite people to become our representative at the Yarmouth Hospital Foundation. We received 2 tenders, and they were both good submissions. It is my recommendation after we recommend that we approve Rodrigue Lefort as our community representative on the foundation. Any questions or comments? If not, Deputy Warden Poitier, I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare appoint Rodrigue Lefort as its community representative on the Yarmouth Hospital Foundation. Moved by Deputy Warden Poitier, seconded by Councillor Hill. All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. 12.4, motion to adopt a policy, the abuse prevention policy. This year, we were advised by our insurer that we needed to introduce a policy of abuse prevention here at the municipality. It's not something specific to us. It is common, and it is required by the insurance companies for the municipalities as employers. So it is something that we have a lot of policies on human resources, but it's not what they were looking for. It is mostly because we have activities with the youths and the not so young or seniors that are susceptible to abuse. Our insurance required that we have a formal policy which is documented, which guides our behavior and how we deal with different situations. So we approach Wickwire Homes because they did all our policies on human resources, and they work with a lawyer firm in Halifax on human resources. And since they know our policies on human resources, they written out, we added them to add another policy on abuse prevention to meet the requirements from the insurers, but also more important to ensure that we are well protected as a municipality and employers. You had the opportunity to see the policy as it is written, and as I understand, there were no revisions to be made. So if that's still the case, I would like a motion this evening to approve the policy. Any questions or comments? If not, anybody wish to make the motion? Councillor DeVoe. Thank you, Mr. Warden. I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare adopt a policy titled Abuse Prevention Policy. Moved by Councillor DeVoe, seconded by Councillor Comeau. Are you ready for the vote? All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. 12.5, motion to award a tender for the railing for Metegan Family Park. As you know, the railing at the family park in Metegan above by the parking has to be replaced. We were contacted by Harold to advise us, and Danielle, our building inspector, went to check, and he decided that it would be a risk to stay as it is, and his recommendation would be to replace the rail this year. So we had a tender call. We received three submissions. The three came before the deadline for tenders. So the three of them arrived on time, but unfortunately, because of an internal after here, the third submission stayed in the mailbox, but it was received on time. So it will change the motion that was recommended by council on July 6th. We looked at the three tenders, and following the three submissions, it is my recommendation and our staff that we grant the contract to Joe Benjaveni for $11,625 plus HST. Any questions or comments? Does anybody wish to make the motion? Councillor Como? I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare award the tender for the fabrication and installation of an aluminum railing for the parking lot area at the Family Park to Joe Benjaveni at the contract price of $11,625 plus HST, and that these funds be taken from the municipality's capital reserve. Moved by Councillor Como, seconded by Deputy Warden Pache. Ready for the vote? Against? Motion is carried. 12.6, a motion to approve funding for the cement dugouts at the Hilltown ball field. The cement dugouts at the Jean-Marie Gay School belonged to the municipality. So if we weren't doing anything, they would have been demolished as part of the construction for the new school. These dugouts were in good shape, have a value of about $10,000 each. So we looked, we know that the ball field in Hilltown needed dugouts there because the old wooden ones were not good. So this would be a product more in better quality. So instead of losing the cement dugouts, we had the opportunity to transport them from Sonyville to Hilltown and to use them at that ball field, which is used quite a bit. So my recommendation is that we proceed with the changes of sites for the dugouts. There is a cost for that. It is about $6,000 from Gary Beliveau Construction. They have the necessary equipment to the work, and they are on site. So it is something that can be done right away. So it would be my recommendation and of the staff that we proceed with $6,000 plus HST to Gary Beliveau Construction to transport the dugouts to Hilltown. Questions or comments? Anybody wish to make the motion? Councillor Hill.
Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare repurpose and transport two cement dugouts presently located at the site of the new elementary school in Sonyville to the Hilltown ball field at a cost of $6,000 plus HST, with the work to be completed by Gary Beliveau Construction and Excavation Limited.
Moved by Councillor Hill, seconded by Councillor DeVoe. Ready for the vote? All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. 12.7, motion to name a road, Maple Lane. We received a request to name a road, Maple Lane. It's not far from our transfer station on Cranberry Lake. The request meet the requirements of our policy. municipal policy to name roads, and in this case, we have the support of 100% of the people affected, or landowners affected by this name. Our policy requires we need 66.6 or 2/3, and now we have 100%. And secondly, it's a name that translates well from French to English, so it is the recommendation of the staff and myself that we grant the name title Maple Lane, or in French, Ruelle des Érables. Questions or comments? If not, anybody wish to make the motion? Councillor Como? We do not need to give out the PIN numbers. I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare approve the request to name the road shared by PIDs, property identification numbers, listed below as follows: in English, Maple Lane; in French, Ruelle des Érables. Moved by Councillor Como, seconded by Councillor DeVoe. Are you ready for the vote? All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. 12.8, motion to award a tender to CND. Every few years, we need to bury our materials at the CND site, at the transfer station. It is something we do in discussion with our engineer, who takes care of the sites for us, as well as the Provincial Environment Department. So we already spoke with the engineer as well as the department to advise them of our intention and what is the material we want buried, and to ensure them that we are following the norms that were required by the province. So essentially, we have the green light to proceed. Our manager at the transfer station, Jimmy Stewart, contacted some suppliers in the area to arrive at a price. There are 4 that have replied, and following the evaluation of the 4, it is recommended that we grant it to DX Excavation Limited in the amount of $5,940 plus HST. They are ready to start as soon as tomorrow if we have the approval from council tonight. Any questions or comments? If not, does anybody wish to motion? Councillor Poitier? I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare accept the bid from DX Excavation Limited in the amount of $5,940 plus HST for the allowable wood construction debris internment at the Clare Transfer Station. Moved by Deputy Warden Poitier, seconded by Councillor Hill. Ready for the vote? All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. 12.9, motion to approve a purchase hand washing stations. We were approached by the Clare Bluegrass Association to look at if we could grant them financing to purchase hand washing stations during their festival. And after discussions that were held at the last meeting of the council, where I was absent, I was told that it was moved at a new approach where the municipality would purchase these stations, and we could make them available not only to the Clare Bluegrass Association but other groups of the municipality, and it looked like a good approach. So to formalize this process, I need the official motion to proceed with the purchase of hand washing stations. Any questions or comments? If not, does anybody wish to make the motion? Councillor Hill?
I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare purchase 3 portable hand washing stations to be available for use by the community.
Moved by Councillor Hill, seconded by Councillor Como. Are you ready for the vote? All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. Everybody with clean hands. 12.10, motion to approve funding paving at the cultural hub. We were approached a few weeks ago by Dexter Construction to see if we were interested. There was some paving left from a job that they're working on, and they approached us to see if we were interested in purchasing the pave. And we had the discussion with Dexter, Deputy Warden, and myself. We decided it was a good price. So after that, we talked with other councillors, so we opted to place the paving at our cultural hub in Comoville. It wasn't enough to do the whole parking lot, but it was a start. And the amount from Dexter was $8,000 plus HST, and this is to formalize that. I am looking for a motion from council this evening. Any questions or comments on this? If not, does anybody wish to make the motion? Councillor DeVoe? I move that the council for the municipality of the District of Clare purchase excess hot mix asphalt from Dexter Construction Company Limited in the amount of $8,000 plus HST for part of the driveway area at the cultural hub, and that these funds be taken from the municipality's capital reserve. Moved by Councillor DeVoe, seconded by Councillor Comeau. Ready for the vote? All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. 12.11, we have a motion to approve funding for the sewer system in Meteghan. Until, just to present the context, 6 years ago, we are finishing an infrastructure project that deals with the Meteghan sewer system. It is essentially changing the system of geotubes that we have now. It's the first time with this new system. It is big bags, and it was something with time. These cement slabs are filled up, and then we get rid of the material. It is our first time with this new system, so now we are at the point where after 5 years, the tube that we have there need to be removed and emptied. It is a process which is new for us, but it was something that was not included in the budget this year. It was an error on our part, but it is something that needs to happen now. So, and you know where the sewer system is. There's a villa next door and the daycare center. So in talking with our public works supervisor, he estimates the cost for that of about $8,000. I would like to put a bit more to ensure that it's enough, because it's new for us and we have permits for environment and work to be done. So we just want to make sure that we are covered. My recommendation for this year, since it's the first time, is that the council make a motion to approve an amount of up to $10,000 to allow us to do this work. The intention would be to spread the materials at our transfer station on our site in Meteghan. We have a lot of acres there, so it's something that can be done, but it has to be done in discussion with the Department of the Environment. So it is something that we do ideally in August. We cannot go any further. We have another G-tubes, but we could put two at the same time, but the one that is full has to be removed from there. because we are looking at the new villa that will open shortly. We have discussions with people in the area with the old villa, and there will be more pressure on our system on wastewater in Meteghan. So we estimate that this is something that will not be held every 6 years, but we might have to do every 2 or 3 years. We don't know yet. It is something that will be done more often than this time. It is something that we will look at, and this is really the first time we are going into this process. So this is why I'm asking for a bit more than the $8,000 that is recommended. So if you agree, we need a motion for $10,000 to do this work, and that the funds come from our operational budget, and that we do have a good balance with these capital budgets. So, and thank you for your detailed explanation. We know what happens if we do not change it. Do we have any questions or comments? If not, does anybody wish? Councillor DeVoe? I just have one question. So if I understood well, it is emptied and they will come back with some new system, or it is all gotten rid of? I don't know if the same G-tube can be used. I don't think they can use it again, but it's not the G-tube that is the problem. It's the transportation, the process to get rid of it. Essentially, the G-tube now are full, and they are on a cement slab, and the liquid material should be turned into a solid, but with the permission of the environment and the permit, you have the right to move it away elsewhere. Not anywhere, of course, but I don't think the G-tube themselves can be reutilized. Questions or comments? If not, does anybody wish to make the motion? Deputy Warden Pache, I am ready to make the motion to go up to $10,000 for the project. Moved by Deputy Warden Pache, seconded by Councillor Comeau. Ready for the vote? All those in favor? Against? Motion carried. That brings us to item 13. Before we go to that, we'll go to 14 for the people on the air. The next regular meeting will be Wednesday, September 21st at 7 p.m. We have no meetings in the month of August. If not, we will go on to 13, the closed session. 13.1, the acquisition of municipal property. 13.2, contract negotiations. And we need a motion. And 13.3, personnel matters. (13.3) Human resources. So I need a motion to go in camera. Moved by Councillor DeVoe, seconded by Councillor Comeau. Motion is approved.
J'aimerais que de dire bonsoir à tout le monde.